A long time ago, on a podcast far, far away, we did another episode, I guess.
Hello and welcome to Jedi Dropouts, your not so weekly geek.
Your annual holiday geek out, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm Ryan Taylor.
And I'm James Moss.
And if you didn't notice already, James is sounding much clearer and crisper and much closer than usual.
I got a throat transplant for Christmas.
He learned how to astrally project. That was his big project he's been working on. So
It was my 2017 resolution.
to learn how to that doesn't even add up, does it? That doesn't. I don't think.
Well, I mean, Luke did it in The Last Jedi. He did
Shh, it's not spoiler territory yet. It's not true.
Yeah.
He's talking about the new Insidious movie.
Yeah.
So, yep, we're going to talk about The Last Jedi. We're going to talk about Christmas and, well, I guess holiday movies, but...
They're Christmas movies.
Yeah. Mostly because I guess the Hanukkah and Kwanzaa industries don't have the bucks for National Lampoon movies or to get Macaulay Culkin starring.
Really, though.
Yeah. That's a movie I'd like to see. A Home Alone movie set on a different holiday.
Really, though.
So yeah, we're this is our season 1 finale, as we're calling it. Our big holiday year-end extravaganza. We're gonna talk The Last Jedi. We're gonna do a spoiler-free review, and then we're gonna jump into the spoiler territory because there's a fucking load of them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take note of the times and write that in the description. So if anyone wants to avoid spoilers on this one, they can just check the times, skip ahead. Because I feel like that's something we should do for this movie in particular.
Yeah. I'd be mad if someone spoiled this movie for me. I
went so far as to delete all my social media for the week leading up to it.
I didn't go that far.
I really want, and it was worth it. And of course, we're doing our top 5 holiday movies, top 5 Christmas movies.
Yeah.
But first, let's just chat a little bit. What have you been up to? What do you got? Any holiday plans?
Mostly been working.
Yeah.
I didn't decorate my house at all.
No.
No. I've never decorated my house for Christmas. Because I don't know, I'm not overly festive anyway.
Yeah.
But also because at the moment I live alone and it's either I'm out of town for Christmas, as I am right now, visiting my parents, or I'm working 12-hour night shifts, so I just work, go to bed, get up, go back to work. So I don't really see the point in having the house, I don't see the point in going through all that time and effort to decorate the house just for myself if I'm either A, not there, or B, just asleep and working.
He was just sleeping.
And then he was a-working.
Yep.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, I actually have a great question that we did not prepare for anyway, but I just thought of it, and I feel like this could be a fun little intro. What would you say is maybe the most bizarre or strange or, I don't know, not great Christmas gift you've ever got? I have an answer. while you think about that one, I once for Christmas got a hardcover copy of Fyodor Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment, which pretty good book, and I enjoyed it when I got around to reading it when I was more into literature in my 20s. But I got the book for a Christmas gift when I was 9 or 10 years old, and I have no idea what that person was thinking.
Yeah, not appropriate.
I don't know. It's a weird book for a 9-year-old to try and read.
Yeah. I really don't know. I mean, my parents tend to get me a lot of like small trinkety things.
Yeah.
Because like my sister and I are so different for Christmas. Because like Jennifer will actually give them a list of things being like, this is everything I want.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm just like, I don't know, here's the name of like 5 DVDs, get me this. And then Mom's like, but I spent so much more on your sister than you, that's not fair. And I'm like, but I don't care.
Yeah.
You could spend $3,000 on Jennifer and $150 on me, and I'd still be happy.
Yeah.
But Mom feels the need to like make it so my sister and I have like the same number of gifts under the tree, roughly the same amount spent on us. And God bless her, like, you know, Mom's a sweetheart for doing so. But a lot of the trinkety things I get are really like, it's just like, Mom, like, I appreciate it, and I'll try and find a use for it, but that is not something I would have ever bought for myself. It's not something I would ever have seen me using. I'll try and find a use for it or a location for it in the house because you're my mom, I love you, and you got this for me, but it was very unnecessary.
Yeah. I'm basically in the exact boat, except I've moved past the small list stage and realized that my mom is going to be spending this amount of money on me either way, so I might as well just give her a detailed list and it's stuff that I actually want. Yeah. I remember one year they were asking me like, "What do you want for like a big gift?" And I'm like, "I don't need anything. There's nothing I really want." And then they just got me a musical instrument that I didn't know how to play, and it was like a couple $100. Like it was, they got me a mandolin. And I was like, "Okay, well, I guess I'm learning how to play mandolin now."
Yeah.
But and I mean, I enjoy the mandolin, but you know, I give them a list now because I know that it's gonna happen either way. There's no avoiding it. There's no getting out of it. So
I got a weather vane.
Weather vane. That's a good one.
It's still in the box.
You don't hear that every day.
No.
I don't know the last time I saw a weather vane.
It's still in the box at my house.
Good.
2 years later. Mom comes in and she's like, "Yeah, I didn't think you were going to set that." I was like, "Why did you give it to me then?" She's like, "I thought it was interesting."
Speaking of gifts, I have a little gift exchange here. Ooh. James, this is for you. You can open that during recording. This is something Charlotte ordered, and it was a surprise for me as well.
A cardboard box?
The gift that keeps on giving.
Alright, let's see what's in this bad boy.
Oh, we should have made an unboxing YouTube video. You could have
it's not too late.
You could have slowly you gotta go one step at a time. Look, this is the box looks like underneath the gift wrap, and
oh snap. Get out of the way, cardboard.
That's right.
It is a coffee mug with our Jedi Dropouts logo on it, and it says Jedi Dropouts.
It's a 2 of a kind.
You hear that? If you want one, you can't. Fuck you.
Anyone looking to purchase an official Jedi Dropouts mug is going to have to pay someone to break into one of our houses and steal the ones that exist. Because that's all.
Yep. No, that's great. I actually have a big shortage on mugs at the house, which, I mean, when it's just me there,
yeah,
it's fine that I only have like 3 mugs because by the time,
yeah,
I need one. Right? Yeah, but when Emily comes to town, which I mean, she's moving in very soon.
Yeah.
We're going to go through a lot more of them because the girl loves her coffee. And whenever Mom and Dad come to visit, they always have their cup of tea after supper. So
there you go. Now you got like a 4th mug and you got enough for every person.
So like, in your house, did you ever have that mug that was like Mom's mug or Dad's mug? Like if you wanted to use a mug, you could use any of the other ones, but that one was the one that Mom always had her coffee in the morning?
I'm not sure because my parents aren't really coffee or tea drinkers.
Okay.
And as a kid, I never really used mugs a lot.
See, we had those in my house growing up. Like, Mom had her go-to mugs, Dad had his go-to mugs. So now I have my go-to mug. I have my Misfits mug and I have my Jedi Dropouts mug. You want a cup of tea? You've got like the Mexican souvenir mug.
Nice.
One with the gecko on it.
I think we have one of those. I'm big on mugs. In my we got a shelf of mugs up there. I've got the Jedi Dropouts mug, Better Call Saul, Star Trek, Scott Pilgrim, Game of Thrones,
nice.
Batman. I feel like there's a big one I'm missing. David Bowie.
See, I was thinking about getting more mugs though, but like all the ones that I see that I liked are at like EB Games and they're like Deadpool's head and stuff like that. And they just seem like they'd be hard to clean because of nooks and crannies.
I've got a Rocket Raccoon one that's basically a decoration in the spare room now. And it's really cool, but it is hard to clean, so I don't really use it now. Yeah,
which is why I never bothered to buy any of those.
And so like that, the ones I listed are just the ones that are in use on the shelf. We also have a shelf in the spare room of just stuff we don't use, and we have a bag of mugs in the attic because we have too many mugs.
No, I'm not a coffee drinker, but I do drink a lot of David's tea.
Okay, yeah.
A lot of the like nutty and fruity teas, low on caffeine, because my hyper ass does not need caffeine.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm hyper enough anyway, that just gives me heart palpitations.
I've been on a bit of a caffeinated beverage adventure lately. That's actually something I've been up to. Okay, so
is that Bill and Ted's third movie?
We've gone too far. So I've been drinking coffee for years, but I always drank it black, not real black sugar, but I never had any milk or creamer. And over the last like half a year or so, I've started using creamer, and it hit me like maybe a month ago, maybe less. I was like, wait a second, I drink creamer in my coffee. I've been drinking creamer in it for a while. Why have I never tried all of these other things that I avoided because they're creamy?
Yeah.
So within the last month, I've tried hot chocolate, lattes, cappuccinos, French vanilla, all these things for the first time.
Have you ever put Bailey's in your coffee?
I have not, and I've never drank it from a shoe.
I have.
No. I saw the picture.
I'm old Greg.
Jesus Christ.
I'm a scaly manfish.
Oh, we're going back now, Mighty Boosh. Charlotte wants to know if you would like a cup of tea. It would be rude not to offer you a tea.
I mean, I wouldn't turn one down.
Okay. We'll get you a tea after we're...
Break in my new mug.
Yeah, there you go. But no, I'm very big on lattes now, which makes me sound like a fucking hipster. Anyway, that's our Christmas and coffee hour, I guess. Let's want to talk about Star Wars?
Before we do,
okay.
I want to add something that Ryan and I discussed doing. We were saying that we were going to have a secret word each for this episode, and we were going to keep track of how many times the other person said the words we predetermined in secret, And at the end, that was how many Bean Boozled beans the other person has to eat.
Yeah.
Which I already have to eat 4 because of the trivia
the
we
MCU
did.
trivia, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought about preparing some trivia questions for Ryan. I couldn't come up with anything that I thought would be good enough. I was going to try and do some Star Wars trivia, but I was like, that's either way too obscure, he'd never get it, or way too easy. I couldn't find anything that satisfied me.
It's hard to get a good balance of Star Wars trivia.
Exactly. So I just didn't come up with anything. But we're going to make a video of us eating said beans after the episode. So if you want to see that, go to our Facebook page and you will see a video of us eating random beans that may be good or may make us want to die.
Probably a lot of the latter.
Yep. It didn't go well the last time we ate them.
Oh, Jesus. I don't even want to think about it.
Canned dog food. Ugh.
Oh, man. Bean Boozled. For anyone who hasn't played Bean Boozled, just don't. Just don't do it to yourself.
I brought some with me for this event, and it was like the $15 box with the spinner.
Oh,
so we have lots of beans.
Good. Do you set any rules for the word? Like, it's not. It can't be a general word like of or the. I assume.
No.
That would be too pissy. So, anything else? I guess is fair game.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay. Yeah, I've got mine. I'm going with something I was thinking earlier, but I don't know. This could work in my favor or just not. Like
for you, it's any word that begins in a vowel.
Ah. Oh, I see. There's 3 more. Yeah. So Star Wars.
Oh my god.
We both saw Star Wars: The Last Jedi. I went to a movie theater, and I watched a movie.
Yep.
Man.
I bought my ticket the day they went on sale.
Yeah. I didn't because I didn't think I was going to get to watch it, and the second I found out it was a possibility, well, the second I found out that I was going to be in Corner Brook on that day, I was like, yep, done, buying it. I'm there.
Oh, for sure.
I had a whole row to myself, second row from the front.
No, we sat 3rd row from the front.
I was far left, right in the corner, basically.
See, in that theater, you don't want to sit on the left, though.
No?
No, because where the walls are too thin between the two the two screens.
Okay, I didn't hear anything. I never thought about that.
Yeah. But you went in the afternoon, though, so they wouldn't have been showing the other movie. I always go at, like, prime time, like 7 p.m., so both movies are playing.
Yeah.
So I sit on the right, so there's not as much noise from the other screen bleeding through.
That makes sense. Man, tangent. I remember I was working security at the Avalon Mall when Interstellar came out.
Oh, God.
And you could, like, the sounds from that movie shook our office.
Wow.
It was that loud. So I can't even imagine trying to watch, like, some sort of indie drama at the same time as that movie was being released. Like, that was a fucking loud movie. Anyway.
Can you imagine being next door and just watching, like, a Kevin Smith movie where it's just 2 douchebags talking?
Oh, man. That'd be a piss off, actually.
Yeah.
So, Star Wars.
I loved it.
I fucking loved it. I know a lot of people didn't. There's a lot of... It's this one's split down the middle.
Yeah.
People think it's the best thing ever or the worst.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the best Star Wars movies I've ever seen.
I agree.
I think there's no question about it. I know it's, you know, there's the hype and there's just fresh off of seeing it last week, but I can't see a world in which my opinion of this movie wavers at all. Man. So let's go into a spoiler-free review. Let's just touch on what's good about it in a general sense.
I feel like it's a good movie for people who are both novice and veteran to the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
I went with my girlfriend, and I have seen every Star Wars movie so many times.
Yeah.
Seen a lot of Star Wars. Like, I had the original trilogy on VHS, which is still at my parents' house. But I watched those to death, and then I got all the Star Wars stuff on Blu-ray when that started coming out, and
I bought a Blu-ray player just so I could own the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Because at the time, that was the only copy of episodes 4 to 6 you could find.
Yeah.
They'd stopped selling the DVDs unless you were buying them like secondhand for like $70. So I asked my parents for Christmas, like, they're like, what do you want? I was like, a Blu-ray player and the original trilogy.
Yep.
And that was pretty much my Christmas.
But me being someone who is that in love with Star Wars, like, I have a Boba Fett tattoo.
Yep.
And I went with someone who has only, prior to this, seen The Force Awakens, Rogue One, and Episode 3.
Interesting. Okay.
She saw those two because they were the newest ones.
Yeah.
And leading up to going to see The Force Awakens, I rewatched every Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
And so I was watching... I had already watched 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
And she didn't want to rewatch either of the two she had seen.
Mm-hmm.
And so I watched episodes 1 and 2 on my own, and then she got there, and then that day we watched episode 3. And
so it looked really good in comparison.
really, though.
That's for a different episode.
Yeah. 3's a turd.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so both of us very much enjoyed the movie. Me being someone who has been watching Star Wars for more than 20 years, and her who has only seen 3 of the movies prior within the last 6 months.
That's pretty good. What's the word? Contrast. I'm looking
Yeah.
for. Yeah.
So, and we both enjoyed the movie. We both walked out of there with huge smiles on our face.
Oh man, just smiling ear to ear the whole time.
I cried.
I was gonna ask you how many times you cried, because
3, I think.
3. Okay.
There, 3, maybe 4.
Yeah.
But not all, like, they weren't necessarily sad.
Yeah.
Like, there were points where it was just sheer excitement.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
I was just so happy.
Yes.
That I got emotional.
Okay, here's something. You are a more you're a more emotional movie watcher than I am.
Yeah.
I don't know the last time I cried watching a movie.
I love it when movies make me that excited or that upset.
Yeah. I think the last time I cried watching a movie was Super 8 when that came out, because it was a pretty sad scene, and I was going through a bit of a rough time at that time.
Yeah.
So it was kind of just a case of context.
Yeah.
But I came close. Not because of any part of the plot or anything that's sad going on in the movie, but I was, like I said, sat in the second row. For a bit of history here, the only Star Wars movie I've ever seen in a theater prior to this was The Phantom Menace. Fuck The Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
I was a kid. I didn't really follow Star Wars at the time.
Yeah.
And then, since then, I've gotten way into Star Wars. And when I was sat there, and, the text comes up a long time ago on a galaxy far, far away, and then the orchestral fanfare and the Star Wars logo, I choked up a little bit.
Same.
It hit me.
Yeah.
And it's kind of silly, because it's literally just a fucking logo you see everywhere all the time. You hear the music. You can look it up on fucking YouTube. But I don't know. It was really, It was
just
really cool.
The excitement of something new.
Yeah. And that's like, I mean, that's just something you know is going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
But no, I gotta say, this was man. The way I put it when I am explaining to people who haven't seen it, because I don't want to give spoilers. Everything that I've ever loved in a Star Wars movie, all of my favorite scenes, all my favorite moments, not exactly, but the types of scenes and like the general what happens, they can all be found in this movie.
Yep.
Great lightsaber battles. You got a couple in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, you look back to A New Hope. One of the most iconic scenes of A New Hope is Han, Luke, Chewbacca disguised
as stormtroopers
and breaking into the Death Star.
Mm-hmm.
You got not that scene, but you do have a disguised as First Order
troopers.
Yeah. You have a scene like that.
Yep.
And it's fun. It's great. And there's some comedy in there as well, of course. Cause,
yeah.
Let me see. The huge...
there was probably more jokes in this movie than any other Star Wars movie.
And they were funny.
They were legitimately funny.
But it wasn't... Like, I've seen a lot of complaints about the jokes, but I feel like they're the kind of jokes that will age well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sort of old-timey slapstick. It's not just like the kind of humor that's hip and in current comedies today.
Yeah.
You got new planets that are fucking cool as shit.
Yeah.
You got these huge iconic scenes, which we'll get to, and you have these intergalactic space ship battles.
Yep.
You have the best of every Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
In this.
New creatures. New
characters.
Yep.
And all of these things are fantastic.
Yep.
Like, I went back and I thought about every Star Wars movie, and I thought about my favorite parts, and there's a comparable scene of every single one in this movie.
Yep.
It's really like a greatest hit.
Yep.
And it's 2.5 hours, but it doesn't feel like 2.5 hours.
No, it races by.
Yeah. I know a lot of people don't agree with that, but no. I don't know. Went by pretty quick for me.
Yeah. I could have sat there even longer.
Yeah. 100%. Let me see. What else can we touch on without getting into spoilers? I guess we could touch on like a very general sense of the plot. I mean, you've got... we all know Rey is on the island. I don't remember the name of that island.
I don't either.
And as we left... I mean, if you've seen the trailer, if you've seen anything at all, obviously she's at least going to attempt to be trained as a Jedi by Luke.
Yeah.
That's, I guess, one of the most central storylines.
Yeah.
I would say probably the main story. And you have the Resistance being chased by the Imperials. No, sorry, not the Imperials, but the First Order.
Yeah.
And that would be Leia and Poe Dameron and Finn and that whole gang just trying to get away. I think those are really the main two stories. That one sort of breaks off in a couple directions.
Yeah.
And then they all kind of come full circle. But one thing that I can say, it's not really a spoiler at all, you get a lot more Poe Dameron in this movie.
Yeah.
Than we've seen in Force Awakens. It worked in that story, but we didn't see a whole lot of him.
No.
He's fucking awesome.
Oh my god, yes.
Like, he jumped way up the list of characters I want to see more of now.
Yeah.
He's a fucking...
Oscar Isaacs was great.
Oh, yeah. And I'm glad, too, because after that whole X-Men thing,
yep.
I was like, I hope they don't cut him down because of that.
Really, though?
Because that was, he's feel like the opinion of him as an actor kind of went down on a lot of people. His opinions based on Apocalypse. But, no, man. He fucking kills it as Poe Dameron. I don't know. It's hard to talk generally about this movie because this movie is just so very... Oh, I'll tell you another thing. The looks, the set design, the character design, it felt a lot more like the originals. You get to see Snoke's sort of throne room. And
with his guard?
Yeah, that whole set looked like something that George Lucas and his team would have designed.
Yeah.
That looked straight out of a 70s, 80s sci-fi movie. It was so fucking cool.
And actually getting to see Snoke up close.
Yes. Man, Andy Serkis is not getting the
recognition he deserves.
Between that and Caesar and War for the Planet of the Apes, he's one of the best actors of the year, for sure.
Yeah. And he's going to be Ulysses Klaue now in Black Panther.
Exactly. He's fucking everywhere. I mean, not to mention, obviously, everybody knows him as Gollum. And what else was he? He was King Kong in that King Kong movie. He's not given the recognition he deserves, not even close.
No. And I mean, since we're talking about holiday movies, Return of the King is the best Easter movie that's ever been made.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one.
It took me 2 seconds to think of that.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. We, you know what? It's a good thing we didn't actually do a best holidays movie because I just realized it probably would have all been Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah. Would have been me ranking the Michael Myers films.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're at a point where no, one more thing we should touch on before we get into spoilers. This movie, in a very general sense, is not what you or anyone else expects it to be.
No.
And I think that's where most of the controversy and the complaints come from, is people have these ideas in their head of what the movie's going to be, questions that'll be answered, and directions it's going to go in, and none of that happens.
But I don't want that to happen.
No.
Because if you know exactly what you're going to get before it doesn't feel like an adventure.
No. And I feel like if Rian Johnson had made the movie that everyone asked for and expected, it would have been good.
Yeah.
It probably would have been very much like The Force Awakens.
Yes.
Very safe Star Wars movie. And I'm not complaining about this. The Force Awakens is a fantastic movie. But what he made instead is miles above that.
In my opinion, it was a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people would argue with me on that, but that's my take on it.
Like, very cautiously, I'm trying to keep my opinion of the movie down a little bit because I know it's probably a little hyped because I just saw it.
Yeah.
So I would safely call it my number 3 Star Wars movie.
That's fair.
Behind New Hope and Empire. And that's safely. Yeah. Like, the idea of Return of the Jedi or Force Awakens being better than this, or Rogue One, no chance for me.
No.
Not even... No. But...
friend of mine was posting on Facebook saying that, in his opinion, this is the best Star Wars since Empire.
I think that's a really, really safe thing to say.
Yeah.
Like, well, not safe in the sense that a lot of people hate this movie, but I honestly, I don't think... I think it could be maybe even better than Empire, given time and rewatching.
Yeah. I definitely want to rewatch it before I made that strong of a statement.
Yeah, I like it.
But...
Well, I guess I just gave away my favorite Star Wars movie. New Hope is... But, I mean, it's... that's another...
Mine was episode 2, so...
Attack the Clones, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. Attack the Clones is never really for me, but I don't like sand, so,
Yeah.
Okay.
I rewatched that scene in the Gladiator Arena in episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
And all I can think of is, like, I want to see Korg there. From Thor Ragnarok.
Still haven't seen Ragnarok, man. I'm still waiting on the chance to watch that.
Like, I mean, leading up to the gladiator scene with Hulk versus Thor in Ragnarok, you've got Korg, who's voiced by the movie's director.
Yeah.
And so I rewatched episode 2 after seeing Ragnarok, getting ready for The Last Jedi. And I've seen that scene, and I was just like, I just wanted to see Korg just be like, hey guys, I'm Korg. See us, Meek. Frig off, Ghost.
Okay. To sum up, our spoiler free. Both loved the shit out of this movie.
Yeah.
If you're
Daisy Ridley is a badass.
Oh yeah, man, she fucking kills it in this. And John Boyega, they did some good stuff with his character in here as well.
Adam Driver.
But honestly, the scene stealer for me in this movie, Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
This was easily, and this is bold, but easily for me, the greatest performance Mark Hamill's ever given. Even more so than Joker.
Yeah.
Which is not something I ever expected to say. But I don't know, I knew I was a fan of Mark Hamill, but holy shit, he does some good stuff in here.
Mark Hamill's so good.
So fucking good. And I like that you know what? No, I'm not gonna get into that a little bit. I'm gonna wait for the spoilers to get into that a little more.
Okay.
And let me see. There's one more thing I was gonna say. Yeah. The only the thing you have to go into this movie thinking is that, like, your expectations, you gotta not even in a sense of like the movie's not gonna be as good as you think. It's just all these fan theories. Like, that's just fun internet talk. That's the kind of shit we talk about all the time.
Yep.
But Rian Johnson just fucking throws all of that out and makes an insanely original Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
That feels like Star Wars, but doesn't do any of the things that Star Wars generally does.
Yeah.
And on that note, let's get into spoilers. Okay.
Yep.
So if you're listening now, you can, and you don't want to hear spoilers, you can turn away.
You can skip ahead to the timestamp that we'll have in the description.
I'll probably post it a couple places, description as well as like the Facebook post, things like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, spoilers. George Lucas makes a cameo. No. George Lucas.
Speaking of cameos, though, apparently Princes William and Harry were in the movie.
And Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy?
Tom Hardy was a stormtrooper.
I did not know that.
I know.
I'm not sure who William and Harry were in the movie.
No, I heard that they filmed cameos as stormtroopers, but those scenes
were cut.
Yeah, were left on the cutting room floor, probably, probably in like a DVD extras sort of thing. Or
see,
extended.
Emily thought that they might have been the two stormtroopers that showed up with the handcuffs.
Oh, yeah, that could be it too. No, maybe they did.
They didn't really do anything else.
There was also something else that I had read was cut from the movie, but I saw it in theater. When they're on, I don't remember the name of the planet. The planet the final battle's on. The
salty planet. Yeah, that one guy who licks
his finger and says, salt. That guy. I had read that scene got cut. And I was like, how did that get cut? I saw it.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, maybe, I don't know if Cornerbrook got some sort of weird director's cut or what was going on there.
Yeah.
Another little cameo. I guess we're into the cameo talk here. You remember in the casino scene.
Yep.
There's this little drunken creature that stumbles over and starts putting coins into BB-8. He thinks it's a slot machine.
Yep.
That mocap was done by Mark Hamill.
Really?
That was Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill went to Rian Johnson and said, "Put me in a mocap suit. I've never done it. I want to do it."
That's awesome.
That's why that scene's there.
That is so good.
I know, right? It doesn't have a line or anything. You would never pick up on it. It's just this little CGI fucking drunken Star Wars creature that thinks BB-8 is a slot machine. But it's just a little fun thing they threw in there.
Yeah. I did not know Benicio del Toro was going to be in this movie.
I forgot. I saw it somewhere and I totally forgot about it.
He was good though.
DJ was a cool character.
Yeah. That stutter he has, and
and it's the kind of thing where, like, spoiler alert, he fucks people over, but you should have seen it coming because it's Benicio del Toro and he doesn't play trustworthy characters at all. Like, every time you see Benicio del Toro on screen, you're like, I don't trust you.
Yeah, like the Collector in the MCU.
Fucking Usual Suspects, Sin City, fucking Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. The
Wolfman.
You never know what that guy's going to be up to.
You see him and you're like, he's supposed to be the protagonist. Oh, he's turned into a werewolf and killing shit.
You know, he kind of talked a little bit like his character from Fear and Loathing. A little tiny bit, like a little hint of it in there.
Yeah.
So, actually, I want to touch on that. A lot of people are complaining and saying that Finn and Rose's storyline was pointless, useless, didn't get anywhere. Just to back up. Okay, let me see. So, the Resistance are fleeing the First Order, and they find out that the First Order have the ability to track through hyperspace.
Yeah. Which
is a pretty fucking big moment for a Star Wars movie. I mean, that's been like a plot device for years.
Yes.
So, Finn and Rose and Post part of it come up with this plan to break into the First Order ship to damage or destroy the device they're using to track them through hyperspace long enough for the Resistance ship to go through hyperspace and escape. They use Maz Kanata to get a contact and find out where this master codebreaker is. They go to get codebreaker. They get put in jail for a parking violation, and they end up through a series of events meeting Benicio del Toro's character, not the codebreaker, but a codebreaker. And
he's not the master codebreaker, but he is a codebreaker.
Yeah. And Finn, Rose, who is a new character and it's great. And what's his DJ?
DJ.
Yeah, DJ break into the First Order ship, disguised as First Order guards, like I said, like we mentioned earlier.
Yep.
And even BB-8 is disguised as a little trash can. That was pretty fun. But the thing that people are complaining about is they get like 10 feet away and they get caught and they don't get to destroy it. So everyone's saying that it was pointless and it actually served no purpose.
I thought it made sense though.
But like, I thought there was something. I thought that was a cool idea. Like, you always see these plan, like these devious heist plans in movies, and they always work. But like, isn't it more heartbreaking to see this plan that took so much work and effort fall apart at the last minute?
Because DJ fucked them over.
Yeah. Like people are saying that it was just filler, and
but you expect the plan to work. So then when it doesn't, because of this new character,
like yes, technically in the continuity of the story, no, the plan didn't amount to anything. But that doesn't mean what you watched on screen wasn't entertaining and didn't amount to anything story-wise. They wasted a bunch of their time. Didn't waste our time as viewers. It was And you saw that on their face, that exasperated sort of, holy shit, we worked so hard to get here, and now we're fucked.
Yeah. Like, they got arrested, they broke out of jail, they got shot at, they risked their lives before they even got to the fucking...
Yeah. That was before they broke into the fucking First Order ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they get there, and then it all falls to shit because they get betrayed.
Yep.
Like, they literally went through hell and back.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it made sense.
Yeah.
Story-wise. Like, it's not the type of thing you usually see in a story, but that doesn't mean it's bad.
Exactly.
Just because it didn't fucking perfectly fall into place. And I guess we should talk about the way that... What do you want to talk about first, Rey or Luke?
Let's talk about Rey.
Let's talk about Rey. So, because a lot of this is going to be... A lot of this review is really going to be talking about what people didn't like and why we liked it.
Yeah.
I think so. So, Rey has her whole story of... It's not really being trained by Luke in the way that you'd think, because Luke is more opposed to it than you would expect.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get into that. But Rey spends a lot of time on this island, and she has this sort of side story of how her and Kylo Ren are... Okay. I don't know if the mic's picked that up. Somebody...
I hope the mic's picked it up. Random people yelling stuff outside.
I think that might have been Santa Claus.
We're recording this on December 23rd, which probably explains why he sounded drunk.
Yeah. It's Tipsy Eve, as people apparently like to call it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, her and Kylo Ren are weirdly connected by the Force inexplicably, and
which is why I kind of thought that the whole like who is Rey's parents thing was going to turn out that she was his sister and she was another child of Han and Leia.
And it's not that story does not turn out like people expected, because people have been speculating since Daisy Ridley was cast as who is Rey, whose daughter is she, whose granddaughter is she.
Yeah,
she's got to be part of but you find out, or at least we think, Kylo Ren basically says, "You're a nobody. Your parents were nobodies. They sold you. They gave you away
for booze money."
Yeah. And he says, and it's pretty harsh, you don't belong in this story. And a lot of people don't like that, apparently, because it's a huge galaxy filled with all these different people and creatures, but all the heroes need to be from the same 2 or 3 families, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that it was pretty cool. And I do think that was part of Rian Johnson's message, in that a hero can come from anywhere. Yeah, exactly. And I think that was the idea.
Which is very possible.
Yeah. And
to me, I took that as, I read that situation as just Kylo trying to piss off Rey because he's trying to get her to join him. So he wants her to be, on the dark side. And anger and rage are, the path to the dark side. So, what's gonna make you more mad than, spending your entire life trying to find out who you are and find out who your parents are, where you come from, than to be told, your parents were nobodies who cast you aside for booze money? To me, that just seemed like Kylo just kind of jabbing at an open wound, trying to enrage her so she'll join him on the dark side. Whether or not he even knows where she comes from or not, he could just be saying that to manipulate her.
Yeah. And I think that's something I didn't think about till we were talking before the recording. But it's a fair idea as well.
That's how I read the situation. I could be wrong. That could have been he could have been telling her the truth.
The only reason I do think that Rey is actually, I guess, a nobody, is because that final shot of the movie that a lot of people didn't like, where you see that orphan showing signs of the Force, as you see the Resistance ship fly through the sky. He uses like the Force to pick up a broom or something, right?
Yep.
And I do think that was on purpose, because I think that was supposed to tie into the same idea as a hero can come from nothing. Anyone has the potential to be a hero.
Well, aren't those the best stories?
Absolutely.
The ones where the hero overcomes so many obstacles and odds, comes from literally nothing to rise up?
No, but apparently it's way cooler when there just happen to be the kid of somebody else from some other movie, I guess. I don't know, man.
I mean, I'm just going to use this movie as an example because I've watched it very recently. Look at Rocky.
Yeah.
Rocky starts off as a fucking nobody. He doesn't even win the fight in the first movie. Really? Well, I mean, technically, but...
Yeah.
You look at that movie series, Rocky comes from nowhere, living in this tiny shithole apartment, and then he ends up living in a mansion by the time he beats Ivan Drago in the fourth movie.
Slight tangent. I don't know if I've ever seen a Rocky movie.
I have the first 4.
You know what? Well, spoiler alert. I saw the one where Apollo Creed dies.
That's the fourth.
Fourth one, yeah. I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
So are they, should I check these out? Are they...
I love the Rocky movies.
Yeah? Any certain preference?
All of them.
All of them?
Well, the first 4.
I really want to see Creed, too. I heard Creed was awesome.
Creed is good. They're actually making a sequel to Creed.
Yeah.
Where it's rumored that Dolph Lundgren is going to reprise his role as Ivan Drago.
Yeah, I heard something like he's going to be training... I don't know if it's his son or another... basically a younger version of Drago to fight. I don't even know. Michael B. Jordan's character, whatever his name is. Apollo Creed's son, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That's just what I heard. But anyway, back to Star Wars, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you want the hero... it's so much more satisfying when the hero is this underdog character.
Yeah. And
just becomes this huge success story.
Yeah.
Do you want to watch a movie where this person who starts out on top has to overcome very minimal adversity in order to keep winning?
Yeah.
Where's the excitement in that?
I don't know. Let's back up a second to cameos, because we forgot to mention the biggest cameo of the movie. And maybe my favorite cameo for a long time. Yoda.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking Yoda's back.
Yeah.
Force Ghost Yoda.
Yeah, but it's not Yoda that was in episodes 1 through 3.
Oh, it's not little CGI, weirdly stern Yoda.
No, it's the silly...
Muppety fucking Frank Oz, man.
Yeah.
And do you think that was a puppet or CGI?
I think it was a puppet.
I can't tell.
Frank Oz was in the credits.
Yeah. But I can't tell, when I was watching it, I was trying to analyze it, and I couldn't tell if that was one of the most detailed puppets I've ever seen, or CGI'd, to look like a puppet. Because it looked better than the original trilogy puppet.
Yeah.
But it looked way more like a puppet than CGI'd Yoda. I can't tell. Maybe it's a bit of both. Maybe they touched it up in post.
I think it is a I think it's a puppet that, I mean, they had to give him like that blue glowing aura, and they had to edit out the puppeteers and stuff like that. So I think that it was a puppet that they touched up in post and edited, and maybe did a little bit of CGI too. Yeah. Because they had to remove his mustache after his film obligations to another project.
Have you heard what came... Like, we're going to take a Justice League tangent here. Have you heard the shit that came out about that after?
No.
Okay. Warner Bros. Offered... I don't remember the studio, because it was Mission Impossible, apparently, that Henry Cavill needed the mustache for, right? Yeah. Warner Bros. Offered... They said, if you guys will allow Henry Cavill... Because they were like, no, he has to keep the mustache. If you guys will allow Henry Cavill to shave the mustache for our filming, we offer to do free CGI adding a mustache for any scenes that you need to film with him that require it. They even filmed test footage of the mustache, because the mustache is way easier to add than take away. Yeah. It's easier to create a fake mustache than it is to create a fucking fake lip on someone with a mustache, obviously. So they for free did up the test footage and sent it to them, and were like, we will do this free of charge if you will just let him shave the mustache off. And the studio was like, no, fuck you. They just were like, no, fuck Warner Bros. He has to keep the mustache, work around it.
That is amazing.
Oh, man. So, that happened. I want to touch more on Yoda and the stuff that they did with him, but I feel like that ties more into everything with Luke. Yeah. So, let's clue up Rey's story. Rey tracks down Kylo, goes straight to the ship, and he is brought straight to Snoke. Yeah. So, you have this intense as fuck, very, very Return of the Jedi scene with the three of them in the throne room. Yeah. And Rey is trying to tell Kylo, like, there is good in you, come to the light. And Snoke is like, he's too far gone. Kylo is, I think, trying to turn Rey into the dark side. Everyone's got ulterior motives going on here. Well, not even ulterior, that's just fucking...
They're wearing it on their sleeve.
Yeah. And Snoke... I'm trying to remember exactly. Snoke he tries to get Kylo to kill her. Right?
Because he says, like, by killing you, it'll prove that my apprentice is loyal to me.
Yes. And then Kylo pulls a real fucking cool move in that he is... I'm trying to remember the scene exactly, but he's using the Force to do one thing, but also doing something the same time, and he takes Snoke's lightsaber.
It was Rey's lightsaber, wasn't it? Because Snoke had used the Force to remove Rey's lightsaber from her.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
He disarmed her, and he put it just on his...
You're right, yeah. And I'm trying to remember exactly what he was, like, what he looked like he was doing when he turned the lightsaber. He was doing something that it looked like he was getting ready to kill Rey, but the exact same movements he was making with Rey was just turning
the lightsaber 90 degrees.
Yeah, Snoke's Rey's lightsaber 90 degrees so that it was facing Snoke, and when he lit up his own lightsaber, he used the Force to also light up Snoke's lightsaber and fucking cut him in half. Yeah. So Snoke fucking met a pretty early end.
Yeah. But I've heard people speculate that that's not the end of Snoke either, because I've heard people speculate, now this is all just theories and speculation, that Snoke, because everyone was like, okay, who's Snoke? Where does Snoke come from? Yeah. I've heard a lot of people speculate that Snoke is actually Darth Plagueis, the guy that Palpatine was talking about, in episode 3, when he's telling Luke that there was a Sith Lord that discovered how to, wave off death. Yeah. And his appearance would lead you to believe, like, You know, he's been through some shit.
Yeah.
So, if Palpatine had thought that he killed Snoke, Darth Plagueis, way back when he was the apprentice killing his master, then, like, you know, that would explain Snoke's disfigurement.
Yeah.
And so people are saying, like, well, then if that was the case, he could have also kept himself alive during this. I mean, it's canon that Darth Maul survived being chopped in half by Obi-Wan and replaced his legs with robotic legs.
Okay.
So people are saying, like, so why can't Snoke do the same thing?
Yeah. I know a lot of people were pissed that Snoke died in this movie, but because we don't know who he is. But look back at the original trilogy. Tell me, like, at the time of their death, what the fuck we knew about
Obi-Wan,
Yoda, Boba Fett, fucking shit. There was another big one.
we didn't know where Palpatine came from.
Exactly. We didn't know anything about these characters.
We didn't know how Vader came to be Vader.
Like, honestly, you know what? This could be the last we see of Snoke in these movies, and that is fine, because there's ample time to give his backstory elsewhere.
Yeah.
It's quite okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be, like, you don't have to give the whole story right now.
No.
And
you don't have to give it ever.
no, you don't. Really, you don't. I mean,
It doesn't need to be explained in movies. He could have his own comic book series that explains it. He
Yeah.
could have we could end up with an animated series kind of like Clone Wars that explains it. It could just never get explained, and it could just be a mystery where people speculate.
Yeah.
And
we could get the animated series Snoke and Friends Happy Hour.
yeah.
Saturday mornings with Snoke.
Yeah.
With Snoke. Snokey and Bullwinkle.
Shit.
But no, so as far as we can see, Snoke has met his end.
Yes.
And Kylo is the new Supreme Leader.
Yep.
But before that, we get a really fucking cool fight scene where Rey and Kylo team up to take on the, what are they called? The Praetorian Guard?
Yeah.
Which are very much like Palpatine's, what were they called? The guards he had in the original trilogy.
Were they just called the Imperial Guard?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the red, the costume design on the Praetorian Guard is fucking insanely cool.
Oh my god, yes.
And those big, like, bladed.
Well, each of them had a
staffs.
different weapon.
Did they?
Yeah.
Shit, I didn't notice that. Like, I know, I was just very caught up in.
Each of them had a different weapon.
They
were all similarly based, but like one of them had like a whip sword, one of them had a spear type thing, another one had two swords.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, the whip was fucking cool.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on in that fight scene.
Yeah.
And it all took place in that really cool looking throne room, and man, that was. And at that point, you think you've seen the best fight scene of the movie, and there's so much more. Because to bring it back to Finn, after Finn and Rose get ambushed, it leads to man, all the storylines tie in here. But through a series of events, that ship is destroyed. Through a really cool scene. We'll get into that story in a minute too.
Yep.
And Finn and Captain Phasma face off.
Yep.
And again, Phasma meets her end, and it's so fucking good.
Yep. Which I thought they were going to end up unmasking her.
They, like, kind of did.
It showed her eye.
Yeah.
The damage, like, when she turned and her face mask was beat up, I thought it was going to be exposing more of her face than it was.
Yeah.
But it showed her eye.
But you know what, though? You saw her eye, and it's just, look, there was no makeup, there's nothing added to it, it was just Gwendolyn Christie's face.
Yeah.
And she didn't really change her voice at all for the role. It's just... And I feel like, I never thought of it till just now, but in the same way that a hero can come from anywhere, a villain can come from anywhere too.
Yep.
and there doesn't need to be this big hideous monster under the mask. It's just a woman in armor, like it's just another person.
Yeah,
and that's pretty fucking cool. But that's got to be one of my favorite lines of the year. Not even my favorite line of the movie, but the "You're scum, you'll always be scum," and then he comes back with "I'm rebel scum."
Yeah,
and then fucking. Does he kick her or push her? I can't remember what he does there. He smacks her in the head and knocks her into a flaming pit, much like the fucking guy from Hunchback of Notre Dame. Goes flying off a ledge into a pit of fire.
Yeah, like Frollo.
There you go. Frollo.
Not to be confused with Frodo or Rolos.
Or YOLO. Man, I want Rolos now.
Me too. Yeah. I'm stopping for snacks on the way home.
So, man, there's so many storylines for all over the place. I want to save Luke's for last. So let's take a minute and go back to the Resistance ship, where it explained that the whole hyperspace tracking thing, and Finn and Rose sneak off to try and find the Master Coder. We talked about all that.
Yeah.
But Leia, I thought, was gonna die in that scene.
I did. There were a couple points where I thought she was gonna die,
and surprisingly, Leia survives the movie.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure what they're gonna do with that, but her storyline is actually really good in this, and I'm glad they didn't take that away from Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
So, but she does spend a good portion of the movie unconscious.
Yeah.
Sort of in a coma, because the ship is attacked, and what do you think of that one scene that a lot of people didn't like, where
Kylo hesitated?
Kylo hesitates, and then someone else blows up the ship, and another death. Admiral Akbar meets his end. And I'm glad they actually gave him that moment, because I saw him in the room when the room blows up, and then afterwards they see that Leia survived, and I'm just like, shit, what happened to Akbar? And they actually mentioned, like, amongst the casualties was, or like one of the great Resistance leaders, Admiral Akbar, and then they kind of take a moment, which was pretty cool for a character who has a big cult following, but isn't really in the movies that much. I mean, he gets scenes every now and then in, like, Force Awakens and Return of the Jedi is about it, really.
Yeah.
So Akbar,
was he in Rogue One? I believe he was.
Probably. It would make sense.
There were other people of his race.
Yeah. So Leia is floating out in space and sort of like crystallizing, and I thought that was going to be her death. And then there's this scene that a lot of people didn't like, where she seemingly uses the Force to float back into the ship.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that?
Well, I mean, it's hinted before. That Leia has a connection to the Force, that she has abilities. So, if she had abilities and we never got to see them, ever, they'd be pissed about that.
Yeah.
What was the point in saying Leia had powers if she never ever got to use them?
Yeah.
So then she uses them, and then, because they're just contrary fuckwits, they're like, oh, her powers are stupid.
By the way, let's take a moment and just say this. In my opinion, when it comes to movies and TV and video games and comics, there's no right or wrong answer. There is no best, no worst. We rank this for fun.
Yep.
Everyone's opinion is valid. If you think that Phantom Menace is the greatest movie ever made, then...
I was thinking about that in the shower yesterday, actually. I was thinking, like, somewhere out there, out of all the people in the world, there is someone who their favorite movie ever made is Batman and Robin.
It probably, there's some, could be listening right now.
Yeah.
And as much as I think it's a bag of shit, I'm never going to tell that person that they are wrong.
No.
Because if you got enjoyment out of it, if you sat down and you enjoyed it, then I can't be. Who am I to say that? No, you didn't. Your enjoyment is invalid.
Yeah, really though. It's when people seem to take no joy in anything that bothers me. Yeah. When people, no matter what you do, there's no winning because they're gonna take issue with it.
Yeah, and the points we're bringing up here about The Last Jedi, it's not like one or two people specifically were like, it was a bad movie. It's a large portion of the audience is outraged by this movie, and I feel like it's coming from a place of these expectations from fan theories.
Yeah.
That's really all it is. Like, if you just sit back and let the storytelling happen, that's a really fucking good movie.
Yeah. Instead of trying to predict and dictate.
Yeah.
Predictate.
There you go. What a bunch of predictators, man.
Yeah.
And like we do that shit. We predict. We
do
rank. We talk theories, but it's all just fun.
But when I go into a movie, I'm not sat there with my preconceived notions of what should happen.
Yeah.
Like there with a checklist in front of me waiting for things to happen.
Yeah.
No, I sit there and I go into the movie blank slated and just I let it unfold, and then after the movie I go back and I look at the proverbial checklist and see how many of them the movie met.
Yep. I'm trying to get back on here. So Leia survives, but while she's unconscious, what's the character's name? Holdo?
I believe it's Holdo.
Is it Lieutenant Holdo? Is that I can't remember I don't remember what her ranking is.
Google.
She's the next in line.
Played by Helen Mirren, wasn't it?
No, Laura Dern.
Okay.
From Jurassic Park. From the original Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's who it is.
And she's pretty good. Like, you don't like her exactly in this movie, but because her and Poe are just butting heads the whole time. And I feel like that was probably some of Poe's best moments. Is him standing up for what he believes in and being stubborn as fuck. But I really think that whole storyline came together in one of the single most amazing moments in a Star Wars movie ever. Yeah. When again, spoiler alert, Holdo dies as well. Through a series of events, they are evacuating the ship. Holdo stays behind, and she decides to turn the entire Resistance ship around to face the First Order ship, aim it straight through the middle, and jump into hyperspace.
Yup, tearing them in half.
And it is fucking insane. There's no sound at all in the scene. The ship is being ripped in half in the middle of space to pure silence. And it was... That has to be one of the greatest things I've seen in a movie in a long time. It's just an absolute fucking spectacle.
Vice Admiral Holdo.
Vice Admiral. There we go. And, that whole storyline wasn't my favorite of the movie, but that's because there's a lot of other great storylines. Most of what I liked about that was Holdo and Poe butting heads. And then the fact that it came together and the ship being fucking torn apart. And of course, I mean, at the time of this, you have Kylo and Rey about to sort of face off, and Finn and Rose are just being apprehended by the First Order. All this shit's going on the ship when Holdo just fucking tears through it, which is how it comes to the point where Finn and Phasma face off.
Yeah.
What do you think? Is there anything else we need to touch on before we get into Luke's story?
I don't think so.
So, Luke Skywalker is a big source of the what's the word here? The controversy, the arguments, the back and forth between a lot of people on why they did or did not like this movie. A lot of people think that they ruined the character. They changed the character too much. I don't agree. I think it makes sense. I think everything they did with Luke makes perfect sense. To start it all off, the very ending of Force Awakens, of course, if those don't recall, is Rey finally tracking down Luke Skywalker on this remote island and holding out his lightsaber to him. So this movie picks right up with that scene with Rey extending the lightsaber to Luke. And instead of this big dramatic moment, Luke takes the lightsaber and just fucking chucks it over his shoulder and walks away.
Yep.
Which was funny and really sets up Luke's story in that Luke wants nothing to do with the Force. He wants nothing to do with the Jedi. He thinks the Jedi should end. Yep. And a lot of people don't like that. But, I mean, obviously it comes from... It's no spoiler to say that all the shit that happened between him and Kylo, he was training Kylo Ren, and Kylo Ren went fucking evil as shit.
Yeah.
Which is the same reason that Obi-Wan, at the beginning of the very first movie, didn't want anything to do with this shit.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's a surprise to think that Luke would... be this big hero. Like, I don't know why you would think that Luke would want...
He's jaded by all the bad experiences.
Yeah, it doesn't... I don't think it changed his character. It's just character... it's been a long time since Return of the Jedi. Yeah. I'm assuming this roughly the same amount of time has passed, which would be like, what?
Well, I mean, Han and Leia had to get together and have a kid... And the kid has grown up to be Kylo.
Who's like a fucking 30-year-old man at least.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously there's been a lot of shit that happened in Luke Skywalker's life since we last saw him. So obviously, yeah, he is a different character.
Yeah, your experiences change you.
Yeah, that's kind of how life works.
Yep.
You can't just pick it up on him being the same little golden boy we saw in Jedi.
Yeah.
Right?
I have to... tell you this. I just got a message from Emily, which was a screenshot of a friend of ours on Twitter, which pertains to what we're talking about.
Oh, okay, fitting.
Yeah, very fitting. Someone tweeted like what they wanted for Christmas was a golden Snoke robe.
Yeah.
And Lucas responded to him saying, "I heard it's half off."
Okay. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Big props for that.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. Enough of the opinions on it. Let's just run through Luke's story pretty quick here.
Yeah.
Rey wants Luke to train her in the ways of the Jedi. Luke says, basically, to paraphrase, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
The Jedi need to end, and he's obviously jaded by everything that happened with Kylo Ren, or Ben Solo, I guess, as he knew him.
Not only just Ben, but like, he lost half of his students.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, technically he lost all of his students.
Yeah, because half were killed, the other half were...
They followed Ben.
Yeah, and the Knights of Ren, I believe they're supposedly called. I've heard.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to see much of them
or
what.
Something... I think it might have been Emily that mentioned this to me.
Yeah.
But she said, like, what if... Because it said like half a dozen of them followed Kylo, and then Kylo was mentored by Snoke.
Yeah.
So, and the guards that Snoke had were pretty elite fighters. And Emily was like, what if the Jedi students that followed Kylo ended up being Snoke's personal guard?
That would be interesting. That could make sense.
Because, I mean, there aren't going to be many other warriors in the universe that are going to be able to hold their own as well as those people did against Rey and Kylo.
Yeah, they were pretty elite, yeah.
So it would kind of make sense.
So Luke lost
all of his students. Half died, the other half betrayed him.
And that one became basically the new Darth Vader, the new supreme evil fucker in the universe.
Yeah.
And Luke, I guess, reluctantly agrees to train Rey, and I think it's the very first training lesson, isn't it? The very first lesson that the dark side calls to her, and she, instead of pushing it away, explores it out of curiosity.
Yeah.
And he says, No. You like, I've seen this power before. I don't want anything to do with this.
Yeah.
And which makes sense. I mean, you already accidentally trained the like I said, the supreme evil fucker. You don't want to add to that. You don't want to double up. And they butt heads a lot. He does train her a bit, but he doesn't want to.
No.
And I try to remember all the in-between here in their story. But it gets to the point where Rey leaves to meet Kylo, and Luke decides that he is gonna end it. And on this island, of course, the reason he chose this island is this is where all the ancient sacred texts of the Jedi exist.
Yeah.
And he's gonna burn it down. He's gonna destroy the ancient books of the Jedi. And as he's about to, Yoda appears.
Yep.
And this is such a good scene. I love how this scene goes. And Luke tells him, Yoda, it's got to end. It's all got to come to an end. I'm going to destroy it. And he hesitates. He's just looking. He has the torch, and he's looking, and he's going to do it. And then
Yoda's like, what are you waiting for? Boom.
Yeah. Which is interesting, because we've never seen a Force Ghost do anything. And Force Ghost Yoda strikes fucking lightning from the sky on this hut and destroys it. And so with such a blast that Luke is knocked back. Which I don't know what we're going to see from Force Ghosts in the future, but what I love is that muppety little Yoda is laughing his ass off about it, and basically just says, like, what is it? He says they weren't exactly page turners, and it's not all in books. That he doesn't do it in a way of like the Jedi have to end. It's more of the books don't mean shit. Like,
they're ceremonial.
Yeah, and there's more to the Jedi and the Force than these books have to offer.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. You want to talk about that ending?
Yeah, I definitely do.
So, all the other storylines come together. The Resistance flee to that salt planet, which I don't remember the name of.
Oh, I don't either.
They get pinned down very much in a Hoth. It's very reminiscent of the Hoth battle from Empire.
Yes.
They get pinned down basically in this cave by the First Order, and when it looks like they don't have any other options, and Luke shows up.
Yep.
And Luke just walks out into the battlefield. And that really badass scene where Kylo demands every ship to blast him with everything they have. And when the smoke clears, he brushes the dirt off his shoulder.
Yeah.
So Kylo Ren and Luke Skywalker face off in the lightsaber battle we've all wanted from the beginning of this movie.
Yeah.
And, man, that's such a fucking good scene.
So good.
So Kylo seemingly cuts Luke in half with his lightsaber.
And as we're waiting for Luke to, like, fall apart, he turns around.
And he's fine. And it's at that point that you realize that Luke is not actually here. That he is using the Force to project an image of himself onto another planet. Which is... like,
amazing.
And the whole thing was a distraction, a diversion, so that everyone else could get away.
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant. And I was waiting, because I saw your Facebook status that just said, "See you around, kid." And I'm waiting, I was like, it's definitely a line from this fucking movie. When is it going to happen? And, of course, when Kylo realizes that Luke's not there, that's when he... tells him, like, it basically, I can't remember what exactly he says to Kylo before. He says something else, doesn't he? Along the lines of, like, I don't remember, but about that he will not be the last Jedi. That there will be more.
Yeah.
And then he says, "See you around, kid," and disappears.
Yep.
At which point, I was like, "Holy shit, Luke's not going to die either." But he does.
Yes.
In the most fitting way.
Yep.
Man, and it's a fucking heavy scene.
Yeah.
You flash back to Luke on his little island, clearly strained and just physically drained from.
Yep.
I mean, he used the Force to project himself onto another planet. I mean, that's fucking insane.
Flawlessly enough that someone else trained in the Force didn't pick up on it.
Yeah. And he manages to climb up onto a rock, sit down, see a vision of his setting suns from Tatooine, which I thought was
perfect.
So fucking perfect. And then, much like Obi-Wan and Yoda, he disappears and his robes fall to the ground.
Yes.
Man.
But that's the thing. Qui-Gon died.
Yeah.
A lot of the Jedis died in Episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
None of them just poof, their robes are left behind.
Yeah.
It's only the ones who have come back as Force ghosts where they've left the robes behind.
Exactly. And I feel like there's something, there's a reasoning behind it. I think it's got more to do with how entwined in the Force that Jedi is.
Yeah.
And how, like, because we cut to Leia and Rey speaking, and they both have sensed that Luke died, but that there was no pain. What is it? Rey says something along the lines of, "There's no pain, there's no anger, only acceptance and balance."
Yeah.
Which is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
So, like, Luke died by himself, but everyone knows.
Yeah.
There's no mystery, there's no question there.
Yeah.
Man, that was... I don't think anyone could have... I don't think George Lucas himself, at his peak, could have come up with a better death for Luke Skywalker.
No.
Shit, man. That was... And then we go to the orphan ending that I mentioned earlier as well.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
But you think about it, like, Obi-Wan accepted his fate. He let Vader strike him down. Like, he, set his arms aside, was like, alright, this is what's happening. And he let Vader strike him down. That happens.
Yeah.
The robes fall. But then later in the movie, like, they wouldn't have taken down the Death Star if it wasn't for Obi-Wan, like, He was there with Luke. He told him to use the Force and trust it. So Luke pushes away the sights, trusts the Force, and hits the target.
Yeah.
Boom, Death Star, gone.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan was like Luke's conscience for the rest of the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
He showed up multiple times, just like guiding him. So now Luke is able to do that for Rey or for whoever else.
Yeah.
Just be a disembodied voice, just offering guidance.
Mm-hmm. Which, man, it's pretty great for Mark Hamill because voice is what he does best.
Yes.
So, yeah. I don't know what else to say about this movie.
Go see it. That's what I have to say.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure there's more we can touch on. But one more thing. Back to the complaints about this movie. A lot of people complained about the logistics in some of it, about how why didn't the First Order just track more ships to the other side, like to come front on to the Resistance ship and stop them that way. And apparently there were a lot of logistical plot holes, but frankly, if we're gonna go with logistical plot holes in Star Wars movies, we're gonna have to back this the fuck up. Not just Greedo, but I mean, you got a movie set in a universe where every planet has the exact same gravitational pull.
Yep.
Sure, okay. The movies about fictional aliens and fucking heroes with
laser swords and
who gives a flying fuck about logic? It's
just have fun.
But based on that same reasoning, there's so many holes you could find in the best of these movies.
Yeah.
So fuck that. Yeah. Last Jedi.
Like, I'm guilty of finding holes in X-Men Apocalypse that I didn't need to pick up on, like stuff with Angel and stuff like that, but...
Yeah, but would you have complained about it if the movie was fun?
If the movie was fun, I probably would have looked past it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there were other things in some of the other X-Men movies that didn't suck so bad that I overlooked because I was having a good time.
Yeah. See, the way I look at it is if a movie is fun enough and entertaining enough that it can distract you from the plot holes, then good on it.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
If you're bored enough that you're picking up on shit, then the movie did something wrong.
Yeah.
So.
Some people are just going to overanalyze anyway.
Yeah. And I guess we'll call this the end of the spoiler territory there now?
Yes.
Right about now. Okay. We're quite a ways in. We haven't even touched on Christmas. I knew we were going to need a bit of time for Last Jedi. I kind of expected that. You have anything else to touch on with Last Jedi?
No.
I think we're good. If we already said it's probably the best Star Wars movie since Empire.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's hard pressed not to say it's the best movie of the year. There's a couple that come close, but this is probably my movie of the year.
Yeah.
So let's get into Christmas movie territory because as much as it's not geeky, it's pretty fucking pop culture, and that's something we touch on. Something we were gonna do, and I think we both kind of forgot about it. The idea of fan casting a reboot of any Christmas movie.
Yeah.
So you don't have something for it, but
I didn't prepare anything, but I could just comment on this just off the cuff.
Okay. We were shooting back and forth ideas for things to do for a Christmas episode.
Yeah.
And the second I texted you this idea, the whole cast just came together in my head, and I'm actually kind of disappointed that this isn't a real movie now.
Okay.
So I would like to see a reboot of Jingle All the Way. And for starters, maybe pick someone who's actually American to play Howard, who is supposedly just an average American dad with a heavy Austrian accent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Just tell me. Okay, do you know? Are you familiar with Jingle All the Way? Is this movie that you?
The Schwarzenegger movie where he fights Sinbad.
Yeah. So the movie, if you haven't seen it, fitting with Star Wars because Jake Lloyd.
Yeah.
Jake Lloyd plays as
Jamie.
as usual, pretty annoying kid.
Mm-hmm.
Not as annoying as Anakin, but
No.
Whose dad is kind of a flake, always late, doesn't show up to shit, and he forgets to get the toy that was the main thing he wanted for Christmas, and it's like Christmas Eve or something, or like a couple of days before Christmas, and he realizes, oh shit, I forgot to get him the Turbo Man toy, and so the whole movie is just him trying to get this, and you've got mainly Arnold Schwarzenegger as Howard. Sinbad is another dad who's trying to get the Turbo Man. He plays a character named Myron, and you've got the other main character, in my opinion, is Howard's next door neighbor Ted, played by Phil Hartman, the late great Phil Hartman.
Yep.
I mean, there are other characters, but those are the main three that I thought are the comedic basis of the movie. So, in my mind, a perfect reboot would be Jason Segel as Howard. Because he doesn't need to be a fit, buff guy like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's just supposed to be a kind of not so great dad who is just a bit of a fuck up. Donald Glover as Myron.
That works.
And the hardest one was to find someone who could do a Phil Hartman character justice as being this super annoying but way too perfect neighbor who just doesn't really do anything wrong except when he gets a little sleazy at the end of the movie, but he's so perfect it's annoying and leads to being absolutely hated by Howard, and I think that character should be played by Bill Hader.
Yeah.
Jingle All the Way, starring Jason Segel, Donald Glover, and Bill Hader, would be a remake I would love to see happen.
What's the kid's name? Ty Simpkins.
Oh yeah, Ty Simpkins would do good
from
now.
Jurassic World and Insidious.
Yeah. Well, they'll probably have to make it pretty soon because he's starting to grow up a little.
Yeah.
But
if they were to make it today, like this very minute,
100%, I'd watch the shit out of that. Jingle All the Way was one of those movies I
just wanted a Turbo Man.
I always thought was a bad movie, and it's actually pretty fun. It's not. It doesn't make my top 5.
No.
But
I love you, Jamie.
Turbo Man. And then you got fucking The Big Show and Jim Belushi, was it?
Yeah.
Shows up and what's that guy's name? Martin Muller. Martin Muller. What is his name? The guy from Roseanne.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
He's like a radio.
Mull.
Martin Mull. Yeah, he's the radio host, right?
Yeah.
It's a pretty good cast, right?
Yeah. If I was just to say something just off the cuff like this for a Christmas movie idea, the Ed Helms Vacation movie was actually pretty decent.
The Ed Helms one?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
It was decent. It wasn't I wouldn't say it was classic like the originals, but I think they could get away with making a Christmas Vacation with the Ed Helms family.
Okay.
And because they even had Chevy Chase in that.
So would you do a remake or like a sort of a sequel, like a modern day?
Like a sequel.
Yeah, because you'd keep Chevy Chase.
Because this is Ross grown up with a family of his own. So they run into their own Christmas shenanigans, and Christmas is a time when the family gets together. So then you got an excuse to bring in Chevy Chase again.
Would you bring back Randy Quaid?
100%.
Find him in whatever dive bar he's currently in and drag
trailer in the middle of the desert. And
I hope Randy Quaid's doing well.
Even if it's a post-credit scene, just shitter's still full.
Man. Okay. That sounds like a good idea. I should probably watch the Ed Helms Vacation movie.
You should.
Because I do like those movies.
It's not the greatest movie, but
Chevy Chase is in it, so I mean,
briefly, but
yeah.
it's got a few dumb laughs.
Okay.
Chris Hemsworth is in it.
Okay, that sounds convincing. Sure.
And I do like Ed Helms.
Yeah, Ed Helms is pretty funny. I get him mixed up with the other guy, Jason Sudeikis. Ed Helms and Jason Sudeikis. I had trouble remembering which ones were in which movie.
Yeah.
They're both funny. They're both very funny guys.
Yeah.
But for some reason, like I can picture.
Are they in any movies together?
Yes, they were both in We're the Millers.
Yes.
Because one of them plays the other's boss, right?
Ed Helms is the big bad guy that Jason Sudeikis is getting the drugs for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into it. Top 5 Christmas movies of all time. So
I'll get you to kick this off.
Unfortunately, Gremlins, Lethal Weapon, Batman Returns, none of those made my list.
Batman Returns would have been a good one. Why didn't I have that on mine?
Me and Charlotte were arguing about what constitutes a Christmas movie.
Emily and I argued about this recently too.
And I wanted to, out of spite, just make a whole list of Christmas movies that weren't Christmas movies. Like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, put that in there. Which is a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
But I guess kind of out of spite, my number 5, I'm going to start this off.
Yep.
My number 5 is Die Hard.
Yeah.
Mostly because Charlotte says it's not a Christmas movie. But, no, in all honesty, I love Die Hard, but it doesn't bring... honestly, when it comes to a Christmas movie, it's not about how much I want to watch it all the time, because Christmas movies I really only want to watch around the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more about what do I want to watch come December.
Yes.
And Die Hard is up there, but it's not my top 4.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking action movies, if we're talking Bruce Willis movies, talking movies set in large buildings,
yeah.
Die Hard is way up there. I think it's one of the greatest action movies ever made.
Yeah. 100%.
I mean, Alan Rickman, Bruce Willis.
Yep.
And fucking that dad from Family Matters. I forget the actor's name.
Oh my god, I'm blanking on it.
Yeah. What's the cop's name? Officer... Shit, I can't...
I'm just remembering Carl Winslow.
Yeah, okay, that'll do. Carl Winslow it is.
Yeah.
Carl Winslow was great in this movie. And I mean, it's filled with...
Reginald Val Johnson?
Probably.
I need to Google that while you're talking.
You Google it. The movie's just... It happens to be one of the greatest action movies ever made that is also set on Christmas. And, I mean, it's filled with fantastic scenes and lines, and the cast is solid. Alan Rickman is very unlike Alan Rickman. As Hans Gruber.
Yep. Yeah, Reginald Val Johnson.
There you go. That was a good one. I would never have pulled that out.
He's still alive, apparently.
That's good.
65 years old.
Good for him.
Yeah.
I hope he's having a good Christmas or whatever holiday he celebrates.
Well, the picture of him on IMDb, he looks quite happy. So I hope he's doing well.
He always looks like he's in a good mood.
I don't know. There's times when Urkel comes over.
Yeah, true. I had never thought of that.
Yeah.
Steve Urkel. Okay. Yeah, Die Hard is my number 5. What you got?
My number 5 is The Santa Claus.
I love The Santa Claus.
With Tim Allen.
You know, I'm just going to skip to the chaser. That's my number 4.
Nice.
Yeah.
That movie is so fun.
You know, I didn't know how much I liked this movie till a couple of years back. Because I remember seeing like a couple of those movies when I was younger and never thought much of it. And then over the last couple of years, I was just trying to look for like you know, what are some good Christmas movies? And I was like, I haven't seen that in a long time. Let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
And it is funny as shit.
It is funny.
It's way funnier than... Like, if you haven't seen this movie since it came out, it is so much funnier than you remember as a child.
The sequels are garbage.
I don't mind the sequels, man. Third one it gets a little rough. Second one, not bad.
I only ever had a taste for the first one.
Okay.
But it's a classic. I used to watch this movie year round as a child.
Oh, yeah?
But mostly around Christmas.
I mean, it's pretty dark for a kid's movie when you think about it. It's like Santa Claus dies, and the person who happens to be there and put on the suit is now contractually obligated.
Yeah, he gets caught in a legal loophole.
Oh, man. But the humor is so good in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, the humor is definitely not actually directed at children.
No.
It's only even vaguely directed at children because it happens to involve Santa Claus.
Yeah.
But this is 100% an adult comedy. It is just filled with sarcasm and satire.
Yep.
Yeah, I love Santa Claus. And it's back when Tim Allen was good and not an awful asshole.
Yeah.
Filled with terrible political opinions. Who's the guy who plays Buddy the Elf?
David Krumholtz?
Yeah, David Krumholtz. I only realized within the last week that I was the same person.
I've known for years that Bernard the Elf
Jeez, I call him Buddy. That's fucking Elf, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first place I've ever seen him. I've known that for years. Every time I see him pop up, even like the small like role he had in Superbad, I remember the Santa Claus was the first.
I've been seeing that guy in like Seth Rogen comedies for years now.
Yeah.
And every time I'm like, where do I know him? I know that guy. I know his voice. I know his face. And then when I rewatched Santa Claus a few years ago, I was just like I was like, man, this guy seems familiar. Where do I know him?
Yep.
And then literally last week, I was like, holy shit, David Krumholtz is the same. It's the same fucking, man. No, good movie. I haven't watched that one yet this Christmas. I need to get on that one.
Yeah, it's definitely on my to-watch list over the next few days. So, we also just covered your number 4.
Charlotte needs to interject with Bernard the Elf being her first movie crush.
Nice.
Yeah. Apparently, you can look online. There are BuzzFeed articles and everything. Apparently, Bernard the Elf, girls are fucking thirsty over Bernard the Elf. Like, apparently that was a childhood crush of a lot of women.
Wow.
Yeah. Who knew?
Alright, so we just covered my number 5 and your number 4, so I guess we'll just jump to my number 4.
Yeah. What we got?
The Muppet Christmas Carol.
That's also on my list. A little higher up. I'll get to it after. But,
Christmas Carol is one of the most well-known Christmas stories.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone loves the Muppets.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, you cross the two of those over, and what's not to love?
This is both... Okay, it's not my favorite Muppets movie, but it's one of my favorites.
No, it's not my favorite Muppets movie. That would be Muppet Treasure Island.
Oh, good choice.
Muppets from Space would be number 2. Muppet Christmas Carol is probably number 3.
We're going to have to do a Muppets episode.
Yeah. Fucking right, man.
Honestly, and I don't know if traditionalists don't like this or not. I don't care. My favorite Muppets movie is the 2011 The Muppets.
Yeah, it holds up.
I love that movie. Still trying to figure out whether or not I'm a man or a Muppet. But Muppets Christmas Carol is both one of my favorite Muppets-related things and easily my favorite rendition of Christmas Carol.
Yes.
So, obviously, it's got to make my top Christmas movies. Well,
not necessarily my favorite rendition of A Christmas Carol, because that's debatable. But we'll get into that a little bit later.
Okay.
But it is a tradition in my house that my sister and I watch Muppet Christmas Carol every year.
Awesome. That's a good tradition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it 2-3 days ago.
Yeah, I think we're gonna watch it either tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, it holds up so fucking well.
Yeah.
And I got a couple more points to touch on, but I'll touch on when I get to it.
For sure.
My side here.
All right, so I guess we can go to your number 3.
My number 3, probably most people's number 1, Home Alone, the original.
That's funny because it's also my number 3.
Ah,
This is the first time you and I have ever synced up on...
No. We both said Deadpool was the best X-Men movie.
Yeah, okay.
This is like the second time in this entire podcast that we have placed things in the same spot.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are fully in agreement on Home Alone and Deadpool.
Yeah.
That sums up our friendship.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Home Alone is probably the most popular Christmas movie ever made.
Yes.
And for good fucking reason.
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin. I always go to say Danny DeVito, even though I know it is Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
And it's because in this movie he looks so much shorter than Joe Pesci.
Just because he's standing next to someone who's quite tall.
Daniel Stern, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
But Harry and Marv are classic sticky bandits.
Wet bandits, sticky bandits, whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
And even John Candy shows up.
Yeah.
And John Candy is one of those guys who's fucking genuinely funny. And I love, like, there are a handful of movies that he just shows up for like a minute in.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever he's on screen, he's just fucking delightful. But how bad as a kid did you want the situation to set traps in your house because of this fucking movie? Every kid that grew up in the 90s, or probably since, because there have been a few of these movies, they've always dreamt of this scenario.
One of the biggest things I disliked about my house growing up, much to my parents' delight, was that there was nowhere I could swing paint cans off.
Oh, man.
I would have killed babysitters.
Jesus. Like, all logistics aside, because this movie would have fucking killed Harry and Marv in real life. The blowtorch alone would have fucking destroyed.
Yeah.
And even the movie they made up to use as the gangster movie that Kevin is watching, the Merry Christmas, You Filthy Animal. Yeah. Pretty good title for this episode, actually.
Yeah. How many times are you going to see that in 2 days on Facebook?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Home Alone is just a good time.
Oh, I love it.
It's always a good time.
Yeah.
I don't know. It launched the career of Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
For sure. I don't know what to say, but it's just one of those fun hypothetical scenarios that when watching it, it kind of brings me back to my childhood a little bit.
Very much so.
It puts me in the state of mind as a kid, and I'm like, I want to set a bunch of booby traps.
Yep.
For potential intruders. And the scene where he tricks them with all the cardboard cutouts, like the Michael Jordan and
and the bath clown thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, it's a full house in there now. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
So that was both our number 3. So I guess my number 2.
Yep.
Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
That's my number 2. And the only point I really didn't touch on that I want to touch on is apparently, and you can see it when watching the movie, Michael Caine, even though it was a Muppet movie, when he got casted, he said, I am going to play this character, I'm going to play Scrooge as if I were on Broadway. I'm going to play it like a serious dramatic role.
Yeah.
And that's something that's really cool about this movie, because you watch it and, like, yes, there are Muppets, yes, it has that Jim Henson feel, but Michael Caine gives one of the best performances of his career.
Oh yeah.
It's a touching movie.
Yeah.
And all Gonzo and Rizzo aside, it's pretty heartwarming.
It is.
Also, the Muppets can, they're heartwarming anyway. But
yeah, I love the Muppets.
I do too. I love the Muppets so much. You have a favorite Muppet? Well, we'll probably touch on that in a Muppets episode if we ever do one. But you got any? That's gotta be the hardest question I've ever asked in my life. Do you have a favorite Muppet?
Gonzo's up there.
As a kid, I was strongly Gonzo, but as an adult, I've leaned much more heavily towards Fozzie because I realized I kind of am.
Fozzie was another one.
Fozzie, I relate to.
Oh, what's his name? The one I was terrified of as a child.
Sweetums?
Yep.
Swedish Chef. You can't not mention the Swedish Chef. And then I always liked that little side character Beauregard, the janitor who shows up occasionally.
Yep.
I don't know. That's a tangent for a different episode, I guess.
Yep. My number 2 is The Night Before.
The Night Before. You know, I almost put that on my list. It's not on mine, but...
Which, I mean, you look at it, it's technically a Christmas Carol movie, too. Like, it has... Like, not fully, but... It has the past, present, and future element to it with the 3 friends when they smoke up with Mr. Green.
Yep.
Who's played by General Zod.
Yeah. Michael Sheen, man. No, Michael...
Shannon.
Close enough. Whatever. Michael
Sheen.
No, Michael Sheen's that dude from... he's in the Twilight movies.
Ew. But, yeah. Like... Evan sees the past, and Seth Rogen's character sees the future.
Yep.
And Chris, played by Anthony Mackie, sees the present because he's, currently
I've never
lost his way.
Never analyzed the movie in that.
I've watched this movie a lot.
I've watched it a couple times, and
it's hilarious.
It's probably, I don't know about the funniest, but it is the funniest modern Christmas movie for sure.
Yeah.
By a long shot.
It's one of the funniest movies that's come out in the last few years.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, modern comedies don't do a lot for me.
No.
But Night Before fucking kills me every time.
Yeah.
The scene where...
The nativity scene is great.
I was thinking when Seth Rogen goes to church.
Yeah. Which is right after the scene I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. Seth Rogen is so fucking funny in this movie.
Yeah.
And the surrounding cast is great, too.
And James Franco playing himself.
Yes.
Sending dick pics to Seth Rogen.
Oh, man. Oh, it's...
It's so good. And then you have the girl, I can't remember her name, if it's ever given. There's the girl who robs their weed that Chris chased after. I don't know if she's ever named, but she pays tribute to some of the villains in Christmas movies. Hans Gruber, Sticky Bandits, The Grinch.
Okay, Sticky Bandits I'm recalling because she does something with...
She has her hand wrapped up in tape and she dumps it into a Salvation Army donation can.
So what's the Hans Gruber?
When he confronts her on the rooftop and she tells him how full of shit he is.
Oh, yeah!
She's like, time to go out like my boy Hans Gruber, and she jumps off the roof and lands in the dumpster.
Man, I never noticed all this. Like, there's a lot more to that movie than I realized. Man.
Tracy Morgan as Santa.
That's fucking perfect.
Yeah.
That could not have been done better.
Yeah.
And Michael Shannon is hilarious in this movie.
Yep.
He's always on his game. Like, he never...
Lizzie Kaplan was great.
Yeah. Michael Shannon never phones it in. Like, if he's in a movie, he is fucking in the movie.
Yeah.
Lizzie Kaplan is great in this movie.
Mindy Kaling was funny.
Mindy's always funny. Anyway, but...
Miley Cyrus was good.
What's the actress's name that plays Seth Rogen's wife?
We've
talked about her on here before.
God, I'm blanking.
She's not in this that much, but she's hilarious.
Yeah.
When she, as a Christmas gift, gives her husband a bag of one of every drug.
But she doesn't know anything about drugs, so the proportions are all off.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so fucking funny.
Jillian Bell.
She's very funny.
Yeah.
I want to see her in more too.
Yeah. She was in 22 Jump Street.
Yes, she was. Another funny movie. Those movies are hilarious too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's your number 2.
Yep.
I'm interested now to see what your number 1 is, because there's 2 big ones.
Mm.
My number 1 has been my number one from the get-go. It's National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
And I fucking love this movie. I love everything about this movie so fucking much. Never mind. I was going to play the little clip of Clark's rant when he finds out about when he receives his Christmas bonus he was waiting on, and he just absolutely loses his shit, and culminates in the what was it? Is it holy shit, hallelujah? Where's the Tylenol? Man, the thing about that movie is it talks it accurately displays all the frustrations of Christmas that nobody ever talks about in Christmas movies.
No,
because Christmas, while it's a wonderful time of the year, is also kind of a pain in the fucking ass.
it is.
And Clark Griswold fucking nails that.
Yep.
Definitely Chevy Chase's best movie in my opinion. No question. I forget. What is the actress's name that plays his wife? Because she is.
Oh my god.
She has a very understated performance in here, like where nobody talks about exactly how fucking funny she is, but she is absolutely hilarious. Randy Quaid, as we all talked about already. Oh my god, the scene in the office where all those suits are walking past and Clark's like, Merry Christmas.
Beverly D'Angelo.
Yeah, Beverly D'Angelo is hilarious in this movie. I'm trying to remember exactly.
Johnny Galecki as Ross.
Yes, Johnny Galecki, and he's so the way he plays Ross is very much like, okay, sure thing, Dad, whatever you say. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's your number one.
Yeah, that will be my number one.
Now you said that there's two big ones.
Yeah, for your list. Because as of right now, you don't have Christmas Vacation or Die Hard, and I don't know which one you're going with. I don't know.
It's not Christmas until Hans Gruber falls off of Nakatomi Plaza.
Fair enough. So Christmas Vacation's on your top 5?
No.
Okay, fair enough.
In all honesty, I've probably only seen that movie 3 times.
I gotta be honest, I had not seen it till I met Charlotte. One of the first years we were together, she showed me the movie, and I realized that I had spent most of my life not watching the greatest Christmas movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So it's basically tradition now that I watch it half a dozen times throughout December.
I know people who it is their tradition to get the whole family together and watch it.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who love it. I just haven't seen it enough to justify putting it on this list.
Fair enough. I haven't seen it as much as most of the other movies in my top 5, but I get the most enjoyment, the most joy out of this movie.
To bring it back to you saying, like, you know, Christmas movie is a movie that you mostly want to watch in December.
Yeah.
The original Die Hard is not my favorite Die Hard.
Oh, okay.
Which a lot of people might not agree with.
Yeah.
But my favorite is the fourth one.
Really?
Live Free or Die Hard, the one with Timothy Olyphant and Justin Long.
Yeah.
Where Kevin Smith makes a cameo and blah, blah, blah.
Then the movie that led to Cop Out and that whole fucking fiasco.
Yeah. That is actually my favorite Die Hard movie.
Cool.
The second and fifth one are the two lowest. The original is my second favorite.
Okay.
The third one is right in the middle, where it belongs.
Yeah.
Jeremy Irons was a good villain.
Yeah. I'd probably go... I haven't seen the fourth one as much, and I never saw the fifth.
Okay.
Is that any good?
Yeah. I mean, the action's really over the top and blah, blah, blah. Jai Courtney's in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Captain Boomerang.
I would go first, third, second, fourth, probably something along those lines. But I haven't seen fourth enough, so it's not really a fair ranking. I really like third one. I love everything with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah. But where the first Die Hard is not my favorite one.
Yeah.
But then once December hits,
oh yeah, okay,
it's what I want to watch.
That's fair. I get that.
And I was watching some things about it recently, and like there's little like there's 12 bad guys. Like Hans Gruber has 12 henchmen.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just I'm a sucker for action movies like that. Like Bond movies, Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, those types of movies. I'm just a mark for them. And when I said that Emily and I argued about Christmas movies, it was her saying Die Hard is not a Christmas movie.
Yeah. Speaking of, sorry, I gotta go back a bit here. There was, let me just get the date right here. What was the date Last Jedi came out? Like 2 weeks ago, or something like that. No, it was last week. Yeah.
Yeah, it was last week.
December 15th, just before Christmas. Do you know what else came out on December 15th to tie it into the action movies here?
What?
The new limited TV series, Jean-Claude Van Johnson.
Oh my god.
I haven't started watching it yet, but apparently it's an action series about Jean-Claude Van Damme, where he plays himself, and the actor Jean-Claude Van Damme gets tied into some sort of plot that involves him being the hero of the story. I don't know at all.
Oh my god.
It sounds too fucked up not to be at least a little bit enjoyable.
Yeah, really though.
Yeah. So once I get around to watching that, I'll let you know what it's like. It sounds fucking entertaining as shit. I can't believe they released it the same day as Star Wars.
Really though, that's just poor planning.
It's fucking bold.
But since we brought it up, what does constitute a Christmas movie?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Because, like,
some people say it's...
Once you start setting definitions and parameters and stuff like that, there are going to be some movies that people consider Christmas movies that fall outside of this. Like, classic Christmas movies.
Yeah. It's true, you know.
But, like, really, Die Hard is set on Christmas.
Yeah.
It's a Christmas party at the office.
Yeah.
Like, there are Santa Clauses. The words ho 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 are used.
Yeah.
John wins back Holly's love for now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, there's Christmas music.
Yep, there is.
Like, pretty much everything that a movie needs to be considered a Christmas movie is in Die Hard.
I don't know. I think the definition will change from person to person. Some
really,
people need it to be about Christmas. Some people need it to take place on Christmas, and then some people maybe it's just a movie you like watching at Christmas.
Yeah, I think it's really subjective.
Yeah,
but if Home Alone is a Christmas movie, Die Hard is definitely a Christmas movie, because Die Hard has more Christmas stuff in it than Home Alone does.
That's a good point, because most of Home Alone isn't really... It all takes place on Christmas. There are Christmas decorations around, but the story is not really
Christmas related.
No, it's a good point. Quick side note: rank the Home Alone movies.
1, 2, fuck the rest.
1, 3, 2.
There's more than just 3 of them.
I know, but I go 1. Yeah, 1, 3, 2, fuck the rest.
Yeah.
I never watched anything past 3, but when 3 came out, it was at the right age for me that I watched the shit out of it.
See, I watched 2 more than 1, but I liked 1 more than 2.
I haven't seen 2 as much. Although, You got Tim Curry, so
Yeah.
Tim Curry helps make everything easy and better.
Yeah. Tim Curry makes up for the fact that Donald Trump is in it.
Yeah. Anyway, I think 2 is probably actually better than 3, but
3 hits that soft spot for you.
3 has a nostalgia factor for me.
Yeah, I get that.
Where I actually had a pet mouse named after the mouse from that movie. Nice. I had a little pet mouse named Doris. I don't know.
That's fair.
3 is one of those movies that I'm like, I know this isn't actually a very good movie, but I don't know. It's got a spot, much like Space Jam,
Cool.
And it's been a while since I watched it, but I feel like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, might be in that same vein, although I doubt rewatching it will do it any favors.
No, definitely not.
Well, I think we're about out of time here.
Yeah, this has been a long one.
I gotta go to work. I forgot I had work today.
Shit.
Yeah, I got work in like an hour. So I guess we'll clue this up.
Yep.
And season 2 of Jedi Dropouts will be coming at a later date. Don't know when yet.
Early in the new year.
Yeah. Probably mid to late January. Maybe later, depending on what happens, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We got some cool stuff planned for that.
Well, I'm gonna be out of the country until the 4th.
Yeah.
And then by the time I get back, I have to go to work pretty much right away. And then by the time we record and edit and upload,
yeah. Maybe we'll try and I'll try and get in Cornerbrook and we'll actually do some more face-to-face recording.
Yeah.
We're gonna do some other cool stuff though. We're gonna try and this whole first season was very much us figuring out what the fuck this podcast was.
Yeah.
And now it seems like the last half a dozen to 10 episodes have been us knowing what we do for the most part and doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the second season is going to be a lot more of that.
Yes.
And there were certain things that we wanted to do more of. We're going to try and organize it a little better. I mean, we haven't fan casted in a while. We're going to try and do more fan casting episodes.
Part of it is just we get so many ideas and
they just keep coming.
We just bump others back.
Yeah. Actually, well, might as well just say it. This was supposed to be an episode later than it was because at some point between our last episode and this episode, we were trying to do our Star Wars ranking, which was originally our 3rd episode.
Yeah.
And we've been putting it off since last spring.
Yep.
So one of these days we will talk Star Wars, and I guess by the time we rank them, we can put Last Jedi in there.
Yeah.
We got a lot to talk about. There's a lot more to talk about. And we're gonna have to We're gonna have to do our top movies of 2017. We're gonna have to do the stuff we're looking forward to the most in 2018.
Yep.
That's just for the start of the year. Whenever the fuck we get around to that.
Yep.
And I guess we got some jelly. Should we reveal our words for the jelly beans?
Yes, we should.
How did that happen? Because I forgot to tally yours. I think I know the number. I think you said it 3 times. What was the word you had for me? Oh, Jesus Christ, what did you do? What did you do? What was the word?
Fuck.
Are you serious? Oh, Jesus Christ. I was going specific for a joke.
Oh.
Your word was Gruber. I don't know how many times you said it, though. I think it was like 3.
Well, I'm definitely not going to hold you to all 40 times you said fuck this episode.
Come on. You were better off going with something like of or the.
Yeah, really, though. I didn't think you said it that much.
Oh, no.
See, I thought I was gonna go with Jesus Christ, and figured no, he says that too much. I'll go with fuck.
Oh, come on. You know how I be.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna give you a pass on that, and I have to eat 4 beans for the trivia.
Yeah.
And 3 more for saying Gruber.
I didn't tell you. I feel like between the talk about the night before and when you actually talked about Die Hard, I feel like maybe 3 times.
Yeah. So that's, we'll say a total of 7 for me, and I'll...
You know what? I'm upping it to 8 because you said Gruber twice when the night before.
Okay.
Yeah. 8.
So I'll give you 8 as well, because the word I picked was really over the top.
That's funny. 40 times.
40. Exactly 40.
Yeah, fuck that. 41. What else can you
might
expect?
as well just eat the whole pack.
Yeah, just put it in a shot glass for me.
Yeah. No, we'll do 8 each.
Yeah, okay.
That's fair.
Are we using the spinner, or are we...
I thought we would use the spinner.
Man. I'm not looking forward to that.
Me either.
A little bit.
That's why I saved half a bottle of Gatorade.
Okay, let's...
So let's cool up this episode so we can make ourselves miserable.
Thanks everybody for listening, not just to this episode, but all year. Well, I mean, since last spring. Let's call it all year.
Yeah.
Really appreciate all the feedback, all the listens, all the downloads, every comment, every mention, every like.
Every share, just everything.
It's fucking awesome that we have anyone that supports this.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can do bigger and better things in the new year.
We appreciate every bit of it.
And we are looking to include guests in future episodes.
Yes.
So if you want to be a guest, if you are interested in getting on here and talking shit with us, talking shit at us, talking shit about us, whatever you want to do. If you're interested, we've already had a few people reach out that were interested, and we're looking to find the right episodes, because we don't want to just throw you in on something you don't know about. You're not that interested, and we definitely
want to include you in something that's in your wheelhouse.
Yes, but at the same time, we want something that is something we would talk about anyway. So we're trying to find the right balance.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you're interested in being a guest on a future episode of Jedi Dropouts, just send one of us a message,
and we'll try and map it out.
You can contact us by email, jedidropouts@outlook.com. I don't check it that often, but I will.
Yeah.
Instagram, Facebook, all the usual things I spit at the end of this episode. I check those regularly.
Yep.
And again, we do appreciate the share. So if you feel like sharing this around, you want to send this to a friend you think would enjoy our humor, or send it to someone and say, listen to these assholes. They don't have a fucking clue what they're talking about.
Yeah.
If you disagree strongly with our take on Star Wars, then talk shit about us and spread the word that these guys don't know what they're talking about, because that ends up helping us. That's what we're going for. That's exactly the message we want to send.
Yep.
And I guess on that note, thank you for dropping by.
And happy holidays.
And have a very festive Krampusnacht. May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.